do I have recommendations on breeds that are heat resistant up to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. And I have a couple of controversial takes on this, so I'll give you my opinions on this. What I would do if I were you is I would look for either Californians or New Zealands that were raised in your area, that are raised in the heat. They don't have air conditioning, they're raised in the barn, and they do well. So just your basic commercial breeds that have been acclimated to the temperatures you're looking at. Since you are in Texas, I highly recommend staying away from anything labeled Tamuk. I always have issues with pronunciation. I always get yelled at. You know what I mean. The defunct project out of Texas AMU. Because it's been defunct for so long, you can't actually tell if something is a true Tamuk. And because of that, people will sell meat mutts that they claim to be from the original lines, but they haven't retained anything of a standard that would equate that they actually are that breed. And the reason why I say breed is because there was never a COD pass, there was never a breed standard. There was an idea of what could be, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it was an official thing. That's why we're currently working on the Sanitas. It's in the spirit of the Tamuk in a lot of ways, but it actually has a breed standard. And then also they're going to be extremely cold and heat resistant, but we're actually looking at turning it into a breed standard. Also, on a side note, if you want to see what happens when you leave babies together for too long, they start mutilating each other. This baby has a huge chunk ripped out of its poor fur. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. Find some basic commercial rabbits, purebreds from good lines that have been raised for a while in that area and are already heat tolerant. Or you could get an air-conditioned barn, but who has the money for that? On a brief side note though, if you are looking at showing those rabbits, I would stick with New Zealand's and not Californians because they're Himalayan in color, which is heat sensitive. So if you want those nice, deep, dark points for show, it's not as good to keep them in the heat because it'll lighten those points on their ears and their feet. But if you're just raising them for meat, it doesn't really matter.